Good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. Today we are coming live from the City Hall. Many people know it as the large City Hall. That's where we are, Bulawayo. And the nomination court is sitting today here, but I know the nomination court is sitting out throughout the country. Where we are at the City Hall, that's where they'll be accepting nominations for councillors, different wards in Bulawayo. It's a hive of activities. There are a lot of people here coming in to field their candidates, or political parties bring in their candidates. We have seen people want to be independent. We have seen people are going to be contesting with for different political parties, and we are here to cover all this and bring you the action. And in the show today, I'm joined by Ipitule Maposa. He's a political analyst and a former spokesperson for ZAPU. We also have Efi Ncube. He's a political analyst. We just want to discuss about these events, what's going on, how things are going to turn. We know that on the 23rd of August, 2023, we are going to have elections where people are going to be choosing their president, their councillors, their MPs, their senators. So we just want to know views from different people. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, maybe in Baba Ncube, what does this day? You have been here for an hour or more. We have seen the people who are coming here, the activities, and what does this day signify in the politics of the country?
Well, it is an extremely important day, given the fact that it is today where you are either qualified to be in the ballot paper or disqualified from appearing there. So for all the political work that people have been doing for a long time, probably dating back to 2018, immediately after the election, this is the day that then says you are qualified to stand as a candidate, whether you are going to be president, the senator, a council member for provincial level, or a local councillor. So it is a do or die day. This is the day when political careers are going to be elevated or undone. So it's not a small day by any measure. And also the political parties are going to see the kind of work that they've been doing, whether it is enough of discipline that they've inculcated within themselves to avoid multiple candidates. And also, more significantly, whether or not as many political parties as possible will be able to field candidates, given the amount of money that is required. So we may find it later on during the day or in the evening that not as many political parties as one would have expected have managed to field the candidate across the length and breadth of the country. So we are likely to see just one or two parties being able to field candidates throughout the country at every level of the contested field.
Yeah, you mentioned quite interesting issues, the issue of candidates, the issue of money, the issue of double candidates, and we'll come to you to talk about those issues. Maposa, there's been a build-up to this process, starting with the nomination fees, talkings or talks within the political parties, and we are here today. Seeing abantu abalapha, do you expect any surprises?
Well, there could be surprises, but more importantly, today signifies another chance for Zimbabweans at large to actually correct what has been happening in the country for quite a long time now. So they have the chance to either correct or perpetuate the status quo. But as for surprises, there is a chance for surprises. Seeing that the most processes that came up with candidates within some political parties are riddled with alleged discrepancies, and there's been a lot of complaints in most political parties. So we are likely to see surprises in some political parties. We are likely to also witness the death of many political parties today. As Ncube has alluded to, the raising of nomination fees, not many political parties are going to be able to raise those fees. So today signifies the day a lot of political parties and a lot of political careers will die in Zimbabwe, owing to the exorbitant fees that has been paid by the government. So it is an important day. It is a day that is likely to bring surprises. That it is a day that is likely to also make amends, as in the political field, where people are supposed to take this chance and correct what is wrong, or they can take this chance and throw it away and let the status quo proceed and continue.
Yeah, you mentioned something quite interesting, that today we might see some political parties or some political careers, being buried, because a number of parties who have always contested in these primary elections, or in these elections, not primary, in these elections, might fail to do so because of the nomination fees. We know that we've seen a statement circulated around ZAPU saying, because of the 20,000 charge that is expected for the president, they will not be fielding the presidential candidate. They would rather use money for other reasons. And what do you make of that statement?
Well, it shows the level of poverty, first and foremost, within the country, and the fact that our democracy is constrained by the poverty that is prevailing. So when people are poor, it doesn't only affect their ability to send their children to school, their ability to put food on the table, but it becomes very significant when it comes to situations like these, where political parties that are supposed to exercise their Section 67 rights, where every Zimbabwean who is 18 and above is entitled to vote, and those that are qualified to stand for public office are able to. But what we have seen, because of the exorbitant fees, it is unlikely that at the end of the day, every person who wants to exercise their Section 67 rights is going to be able to do so. That is inclusive of political parties. So in a way, the fees that have been charged are going to be eliminating people even before the electorate decides who they want to be in office. Already the fees that are charged have begun to eliminate people. Not many people are going to afford the 20,000 that is required. Not many people are going to afford the $1,000 that is required to stand as a candidate for the National Assembly. And therefore, that being the case, you will find a situation where in certain constituencies, people might find themselves without even an alternative. It is likely that we are going to see in this country people being elected even before the end of the day because they are uncontested. And that is the weakening and not strengthening of democratic processes. And also you are likely to see many parties failing to field candidates. And again, that will eliminate the democratic choices that people want to have in an election like this. Our constitution contemplates a situation where there will be multiple candidates because it says so in terms of our tenets, in terms of our values, that we are supposed to be a multi-party democratic system. But without us dealing with the exorbitant fees, the values that are set out in the Constitution will be undermined by the fees that are being charged. And that's what we are going to see today.
Yeah, you've talked about the chances that some political parties might fail to field throughout. One thing that I've observed with ZANU-PF is that they, for lack of a better word, they are organized. They did their primary elections. They dealt with the challenges, dealt in courts with the AMA challenges and AMA, those who were aggrieved after the primary elections, and they allowed the process for these people to heal, and they moved on. Seemingly, we'll see today if they moved on. But we know that there is no, it's clear who is going to be the official candidate. But it's not the same probably with the opposition, because I think we've seen some of the candidates, but they're waiting for their nomination papers. They don't know whether they've been nominated or not. And we have 1,970 wards across the country. And you are saying it's possible that by the end of the day, some of these people are going to be elected unchallenged because there will only be one candidate, and that is likely to be ZANU-PF. We have 210 constituencies. And it's possible again that by the end of the day, some constituencies, we might find that maybe ZANU has 1 or 2 constituencies where other political parties have failed to field. So it is that interesting. And it will be a sad day for democracy if that happens. But you also mentioned political processes, that we are likely to see, surprises, because some people are not happy with the political processes that took place. It might be in ZANU, it might be in the Triple C, because these are the 2 big political parties that are there. But also there is the emergence of Kasukuwere, who is saying is going to be coming in for nomination. We don't know whether he will finally submit his papers, but what we know is that there are some people, we've heard there are some people who lost the ZANU-PF primary elections who are saying we are also going to be fielding in as candidates. But let's talk about the political processes. In your view, what did you think went wrong in these political processes?
Well, the problem with many political parties in Zimbabwe is that they declare themselves as democratic parties. In actual sense, they are not, and they would rather choose not to follow any democratic processes and follow whatever means that they think that they're good for their existence. So if I take for instance CCC, this concept Berekamwana as one of the ways of selecting their candidates. So it is the same as the call that was made by ZANU-PF Vice President Kembo Moati when he said Lonyaka's Dipalamatole, where you take one candidate there, a prospective candidate, and you command and order your people to follow that candidate. There's a lot of pre-arranged and preconceived results that come out of that process. It's the same as calling on Chief Nema to stand there and have his followers counted, and ZANU-PF expects the same number of votes as the number of people that were counted. So the process was undemocratic. The process was meant to impose certain candidates on the people because there's no secrecy in the voting pattern. There is no guarantee that these people will be safe or their voice will be followed at the end of the day. So it is that process that is going to cause a lot of confusion, especially within the CCC. We are likely to see double candidacy within the CCC. We are also likely to see the failure to field candidates in other constituencies, but mostly for council constituencies, we are likely to see double candidacy because there is a lot of aggrieved people, and the process being announced, the results being announced as today as to who has been successful and not, is going to create a lot of problems. A lot of people who seem to believe that they qualify and they have no reason to not to file their papers today.
Umaposa is talking about the issue of double candidates. And from the onset, one of the issues that the opposition was saying was the reason why they are going to deal with the issue the way they have dealt with the process here is to avoid the double candidates. And they said, never again are you going to have a double candidate. Do you think the issue of double candidates will be repeated?
Yes, it is definitely going to be repeated. I have no doubt in my mind. I will be actually surprised if at the end of the day, there are no double candidates in any constituency across all the levels, from council to president. This is because our political parties not only are failing in terms of democratic processes, but they are also failing in terms of credible dispute resolution processes that are required. Running a democracy requires a lot of institutions, credible institutions within the institutions themselves. A political party must be structured for a free and fair election within itself before it can run for and run a free and fair election. We are this bad as a country. We have this democratic deficit as a country because ZANU itself is not democratic. So it's impossible to use political parties that are not democratic to come up with a democratic Zimbabwe. It is never going to happen. You need institutions that are democratic, that believe in democratic ethos, and those are the institutions that can then give us a democratic Zimbabwe. And to the extent that they are failing to hold credible primary elections, and they are failing to resolve whatever disputes arise from elections, then you are necessarily going to have your multiple candidates coming into the constituencies at various levels. So the best way, in my view, is not to delay the publication of candidates, is not to hold elections or internal elections in an opaque way, but the best way is to even over-democratize the party, but make sure that you have your security consideration, your safety considerations, you have your stability considerations built into the democratic processes. But also, in addition to that, you need to have an orderly, functioning dispute resolution mechanism that will say, we went to the people, they gave us these people, and then we are choosing this one. And then you resolve whatever other people feel was not handled properly. If you don't do that, they are going to file their papers also. So we need our political parties to organize themselves better than what they have done so far.
There's the way of all these exciting things that are happening, looking at the people coming in with nomination. But there is the factor of Ukasukuwere, who has announced that he's going to be contesting. And there are some people who are saying that if he finally files his papers, it is more likely to get more votes from ZANU rather than from the opposition. So do you think that if he finally, comes in the playing field, that his involvement will be significant?
I think it depends on the kind of politics is coming into play this time around. We know Xavier is one who played factional politics most of his time in ZANU-PF. He always belonged to a faction, and he always pushed factional values and ethos. So if he's going to change the kind of politics he's going to play, he is not only going to get a ZANU-PF vote, a fraction of the ZANU-PF vote, he's also going to get the vote from the opposition, because right now there seems to be a vacuum as to the values and ethos of the democracy in both parties, the CCC and ZANU-PF. So we might have people being swayed by the kind of politics that Xavier may come up with this time around and end up voting for him. But it's not as significant as it was going to be had he come on time to work the ground before he declares his intention to run. He's only coming at the very last minute, and he has some cases that are hanging on him. I'm sure there's a warrant of arrest that is pending. So he could be disturbed and end up failing to file his nomination papers. So there's really no time for anything that will make a significant impact on the current vote, unless he's able to file his papers today and work the ground from this period until election day. Also working on improving the kind of politics that he's playing.
Yeah, still on the same question, we know that the president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, has filed these papers. Chamisa said he had filed these papers. Maduku, we hear he has filed these papers. There is Kasukuwere, who announced he was going to be running for president, but we are not clear whether he's going to be in, whether he's going to file his papers. If he does, what new dimension does it bring?
Well, I think he's going to come back to the ZANU that he left behind. He was one of those who made ZANU so impossible for the rule of law and democracy. He left a ZANU behind that does not tolerate opposition, that does not tolerate democratic spaces. The same ZANU that he left behind is going to deny him space to campaign. There is no doubt about it. I don't see him running around freely throughout the country campaigning as if ZANU has changed. It is as bad as he was part of it. Now that he has left, I'm surprised that he thinks that it will certainly open spaces for him to freely campaign. He will find the same impossible ZANU and he's going to be stifled and unable to freely campaign. But supposing he goes out there to the little spaces that have been opened, I don't think he is going to have a significant bearing on the election. I tend to view it completely different. I don't think he is a political heavyweight in any sense. He is going to get some votes from within the faction that he was part of. But also, you see, it is unlikely that the people that he led as part of the faction that he was in ZANU-PF before 2017, that they are still in that particular faction. So it is unlikely, in my view, that he's going to have a significant bearing. At least because he's not as one of the best people, the candidates. I don't know how, when people say he is a political heavyweight, I have not seen him attracting crowds. But if he does, then he's going to find a headley in form of the closed space that ZANU-PF is going to put around him to make sure that he doesn't campaign. So to that extent, I think he's going to be very much stifled and unable to make any contributions towards the votes that he wants.
There's no way we will end this program without talking about Bulawayo. We are here strategically because this is where councillors are going to be submitting their nominations. And the past 5 years, service delivery in Bulawayo has been bad. And people have been complaining about councillors and the type of councillors and the quality of councillors that are there. And you can see all these people are here. Most of them want to file for nomination. What do you think will happen when it comes to the candidates that are going to file for nomination, both for ZANU and for CCC and any other political party?
Well, I think Bulawayo is going to be one of the places or provinces where you are going to see a heavier density of candidates. It's going to be a high density area for political contestation. So as many political parties are going to field their candidates here, and also because there are no fees that are charged for that. And also, in addition to that, it is because an urban area is not as wide as a rural area. A rural district or a rural ward requires more resources, many resources, much resources than you would need in an urban area. So it's not surprising that you see so many people coming to file their papers. But even then, I doubt very much that it is more than 10 political parties are going to get much. I think it is going to be restricted to less than 5 political parties that are going to get a significant vote from the people, provided they go straight into the bread and butter issues of the people, the sewer system, the water, the poor service delivery, and so forth. But also the problem is that people in Zimbabwe are extremely partisan. Some people are just going to vote for whatever party they want, regardless of whether or not it contributes to service delivery or to poverty. They just go with that party. So we are likely to see the same trend unless in their manifestos they convince people to go out of their political cocoons and explore at least other political parties that are there. And that way we'll be able to see this diversity coming in. Otherwise, we are likely to remain with the few political parties, and the new entrants are going to be very few. Probably 2 or 3 or 4 political parties are going to make a significant inroad into the space in Bulawayo.
Just a follow-up question on that. The last council, this one that will conclude, has been dominated by CCC. Or MDC, with only one candidate belonging to ZANU. Then we can argue whether they were CCC or MDC. Do you think this will change in this coming election?
I don't anticipate much change in terms of composition of the councillors. I also don't see much change in terms of the quality of the councillors. We have had the lowest, if I'm not mistaken, quality of councillors in the past executive, and the service delivery issues are there to speak for themselves. The issues of water, the issue of sewage and roads, they've been badly managed under this council. So I really don't see much change in terms of composition. I also really don't see much change in the quality of service delivery that is coming in the new council. It is because people don't vote for quality councillors. They don't check candidates to see who's got better qualities to serve them. They only go out there, vote basing on the political jacket one is putting on. So there's so much dislike of his ZANU-PF is going to give us poor quality councillors from the CCC.
Yeah, we are here at the large city hall where the nomination court is going on. This is the first segment. We'll break and come back later in the afternoon, hoping that we will be having new interesting things, new names. But my last question to you before we take a break is the issue of Country Park. There is excitement around Country Park because that's where Mthuli Ncube is. He has been doing a lot. He has been visible. It's not yet confirmed who the opposition is going to field, not only Triple C, but whether other political parties are also going to field in Country Park. So let me be not so nice to you and say, my last question to you, who do you think is going to take the Country Park seat?
I think Mthuli Ncube will take it. For one reason, Country Park has been neglected under the current council leadership. It is a new constituency, and ZANU-PF are not stupid to create a new constituency and lose it. So there are many dynamics that are presenting themselves in Country Park that points to Mthuli Ncube taking that seat. One of the issues is the work that he has done so far in improving the lives of Country Park people. He's been repairing roads there, he's drilled bores for them. We know there's a water problem in Bulawayo, and people will not look at the processes or procedure, how procedural were there in finding them the solutions to the problems they had. They will simply look at Mthuli Ncube as their savior, who has come and given them water, who has come and improved their roads. Now Mchova can access the most remote parts of Country Park. That was not the case before Mthuli came in the picture. So I really see Mthuli Ncube taking that seat.
Yeah, my same question to you, my final question to you is, who do you think is going to win Country Park?
Well, I think the constituency is up for grabs. It's not, for me, it's not a given. Anyone can win depending on how they conduct themselves until the 23rd of August. But I want to agree that it is going to be a very difficult constituency for the opposition, given that you have a candidate from the ruling party who has resources, and also the fact that, as my colleagues say, it has been neglected for a long time in terms of the road infrastructure, in terms of the sewer system and water and so forth. So it presents itself as an opportunity for ZANU-PF to make inroads into the city. But whether or not they are going to succeed in that will depend on many factors that are going to play out until we get to the 23rd of August.
Okay, for now, I think we will just stop it there. We are at the nomination court where candidates will be filing. There is something that is going on as well at the Trade Gold. It's happening again across Matabele and across the country. We are having representatives in Dupane, in Kwanda, and we'll be gathering that information and coming back to you to give you the information that is going on. You can follow us on Twitter at site ZW. You can follow us on Facebook. We'll be giving hourly, minute updates as things happen. Where there is breaking news or exciting news that is happening, we'll be bringing to you the news. That's what we'll be doing the whole day today, and we hope to join you again later in the afternoon with updates of what is happening across the country. For now, tune in on our social media pages and enjoy the day.